good afternoon. And I think by now we are trying to round off the lecture on the introduction to rural sociology. Introduction to agricultural extension and rural sociology. We have looked extensively in the area of agricultural extension, and we have had a test. Like I said, you are still going to have one more test. Then after the test, you have an assignment. So that will complete the requirement for the semester. But today we will be looking at the last topic. Last week I posted other topics and even some of our recordings and the kind of clips that speaks a lot even about the history of agricultural extension in Nigeria. But today we just look at the last area, which is talking about the rural sociology. Actually, it's an introduction to rural sociology. And when we are talking about sociology generally, we are talking about issues that relate to the study of human behavior and human society and social behavior. We are all social beings. Human beings are there and we interact with each other every day. So when we are talking about interaction of human beings in the society and their operation within a society, in terms of their culture, in terms of their norm, in terms of their control, and the way they relate with each other in the society to bring about changes and development, we are now looking at issue of sociology. But when we are now talking about the confines of where they dwell, there have been different definitions of rural. Rural has been considered in some instances using population. Rural has been considered in some instances based on infrastructure. Rural has been considered in some instances based on profession. Some will say yes, where the dominant occupation is agriculture is rural. Some will say where a population is below 5,000 is rural. Some will say where there are no basic social facilities, infrastructures like electricity, like water, like good road is rural. Well, there have been various definitions of rural and the concept of rural. But when we are talking about rural sociology, we are talking about the strategy of interaction and change in a community where people dwell, that is, in rural community. That is what leads us to rural sociology. So, and it deals with those aspects of people living in the rural society who are subject to change, who interact with each other, and with all the system that is present in the rural communities and the changes they are undergoing in the rural community. So it concentrates on the social system, it concentrates on the subsystems, and the relationship within groups and organizations in the rural community. That is what we are talking about when we are talking about rural sociology. And then it is the way people live in those places. It is the way they interact. It is their activities. It is their lifestyle. It is their livelihood activity also that also determine to a great extent if agricultural extension need to come in. Because in agricultural extension, the first principle is to start at the level where the people are. So we have to understand their life. We have to understand their social system. We have to understand the way they are living before we can say in agricultural extension, we want to embark on any activities or we want to do anything. So that is why issue of rural sociology is important to agricultural extension. No extension personnel goes to where I didn't know what is going on. And like we said, the principle says we start at the level where the people are. And that means you have to understand what they're doing and where they are before any extension activity. So that is one of the reasons why we have to get familiarized with rural sociology in terms of the language, in terms of their system, and in terms of some of the things. And that will lead us to some of the terminologies in rural sociology. And that is talking about social organization. And when we are talking about social organization, we are talking about the ways in which individual dwells, or the way they act with reference to their goals, with reference to their desires in the society where they all live and they interact. And when we are looking at social organization, we can consider it from the structure of the community where they are. We can consider it from the institutions, both the formal and informal institution that makes up the society and that dictates the actions, the activities, the undergoings, and also that will determine the role of individual in that society. So when we look at it from that perspective, we are looking at also social organization. And we should also realize that because it's where a human being lives, it is also malleable to changes. Because human being changes, circumstances changes, environment changes, and some development may come in that will also bring about changes. And that is what we are trying to say. So when there are changes, or where they are, the society where they are that is malleable to changes, also may lead to changes in attitude, may lead to even some changes in their goals or objectives. And that is what we are trying to talk about. So when we are talking about social organizations in societies or in rural communities, it's also helping us to determine to what extent the life of the people in those areas, their activities, the way they do things, and what they are malleable to, and their goals and their objectives. So that is what social organization is talking about in rural sociology. And then, within the confines of that, within rural communities or in any community, they also have the issue of culture. And generally, there are different perspectives to culture. We are talking about culture. I know people will say Yoruba culture, Igbo culture, Hausa culture, African culture. Yes, we look at it. So, it relates to individuals. Culture relates to individuals. And it relates to human beings. Looking at it with the process of knowledge acquisition. Knowledge acquisition, their beliefs, their customs, their moral life. And when you look at this, and it is being transmitted from one generation to the other, their norms, their beliefs, their custom, and what they even acquire, the knowledge they acquire over years, and which controls, direct, and leads them into their actions, and which is also passed from one generation to the other. And that is what we are talking about. But within the issue of culture, there are also some cultural elements. And that's why, in some instance, culture is also being related to the pattern of learned behavior. The pattern of learned behavior and artifacts of the society. Artifacts is talking about the things that are there seen, and actions and substances and materials and things that can speak about them, even over years. And this is also shared by members of that society. They share it, they believe in it, it controls them, it directs them, it guides their action, and it's also transmitted among them. And in some instances, it also leads to social control that makes them to control the behavior even within the confines of the society. So to a cultural extension, culture is important because it's a key factor. You want to introduce any program or any change, you have to know what is the belief of the people. What are their customs? What are their norms? Before you can do it. For example, in a place where they believe that they don't eat certain things, and you want to introduce technology that relates to production of that substance or that material thing or that animal or that plant, no. I know, for example, history has it, and science also, and when the issue of the Ife brown came up, we learned that initially it was the red breed and the black breed. But when it was tested in the community where they were trying to test it for adoption, and before adoption, it was found out that the people looking at it said, who want to eat something that is red? It looks like the red in that community is attributed to issue, to devil. And people, if you look at the culture, who want to eat anything food that is red, they look at it with different interpretation. Because in some culture, even when you see people wearing black, somebody wearing black dress, it has a meaning. And so our cultural extension must have understanding of the knowledge of the belief of the people and their custom before you can say you want to introduce any technology or bring about any change to them. You have to work in tandem with what is acceptable to them. And that is why we are talking about culture is related to the type of food people also take, the type of clothes they wear, their lifestyle among others. They talk about their marriage culture. They have, yes, the concept of marriage, when to marry, who to marry, how to marry. So all this, and therefore in our cultural extension, we have to understand it to guide all actions that are needed to be taken. So, and that's why we say it includes material. Yes, the artifacts, we talk about even our cultural implements. We know in Africa, before in Nigeria, we normally have our traditional hoes and cutlasses. Even we still find out that the hoes that is being used for cultivation and making heaps, even in Yoruba land, is different from the one they are using in Hausa land. They have their people's own, the Hausa own. Oh, this is for the Yoruba, this is this. They still have their own. And even that is talking about implement and the movement of traditional fabrication methods. So that is part of what we are saying. And even in industry, even in technology, the rural technology, the indigenous technology also varies from one tribe, from one place to the other. And that is critical. So that is what we are talking about when we are talking about culture and some elements of culture. And part of it is talking about the cultural universe. And when you are talking about cultural universe, you are talking about common traits that is found in all culture. For example, religion of the people, the family ties. You are talking about the economic institution. You are talking about their languages. You are talking about their dress and habit. Like Yoruba, they will wear buba, the Igbos wear wrappers and all those ones. You talk about the eating habit of the people. You talk about the occupation of the people and others. And when you are looking at these common traits that is found in all cultures, that is what we regard as cultural universe. And one thing is that there is no group of people who do not share cultural dimensions. Every group of people, they have their cultural dimension, and it's a critical thing. So that is what we are talking about, cultural universe. Then, cultural variability. This is regarded as the degree to way by which various cultural attributes are observed in various cultures. The degree to which it is observed in various cultures. In some cases, some attributes are present in some culture and they are not present in the others. Some attributes are present in some culture, they are not present in the others. There are peculiarities of marriage in Hausa land. There are peculiarities of marriage in Yoruba land. There are peculiarities of marriage even among the Igbos. And these are issues that we are talking about. And then, when we talk about cultural lag. Now, this happens when there are changes that occur, maybe in technological aspects or material aspects of the culture of the people, more than the non-material aspects. And it will happen, some influence will come, even in terms of the people's attitude. For example, I know there was a time we have some tribe in Nigeria that doesn't wear clothes, but now by modernization, by people visiting them, I don't want to mention name, that were visiting to the place we talk about, yes, well, talk about Kuma people at the time that they had to locate them and this, and acculturation, making them to wear clothes, some things are changing. Then some even beliefs of people are changing, and even some social organization perspectives are changing. So when we look at all these changes that are coming, then that is part of what we are talking about. I believe some of these ones that we have discussed, even in the class before, and even from myself, are issue of cultural lag, changes as a result of technology, or even materials, even that can be seen and that can be adopted, and that people are evolving, apart from even the non-material, and restructuring them. Then, let's just consider some specific terms in cultural universe. When we talk about beliefs, Belief is talking about what the people regard as being true, regardless of how it was found. Everybody, the people accept it and they regard it as being true, and they accept it and they follow it, and it dictates their action and they abide by it. That is what we are talking about belief. They are what the rural people believe, and they regard it as true, regardless of how it was formed. And they abide by it, they go with it, they act by it, and it dictates their action. So, for example, some believe in the traditional oracle, like Ifa, some believe in Osoyin, some believe in Ogun, some have they accept it, they believe it is true, and they accept it, and they follow the tenets and the principle of it. That is belief. So culturally too, yes, in some community there are some things. So that is Igbo. They believe if anybody goes there without permission or for unholy thing, the Oro will kill the person. And people hold on to it. Oh, women cannot see, women cannot go to Goro. This and this, Goro. That is their belief, and they abide by it. Although, like we are talking about cultural land, with modernization, with some things that could be changed. Then the other one is talking about norms. Norms are required or acceptable behavior in a given situation, or acceptable behavior in a given society. And that provides the opportunity for judging behavior. It provides opportunity for, they say it's not our norm, it's not our tradition, it's not our ways, because they are acceptable behavior in the society. And when they are acceptable behavior, it brings what we call the social control, even in the society. And that guides action. And that is what makes everybody to live within the comfort of the discipline in that society. And this can be further broken to subunits. We have the folkways, we have the mosques, and we have the laws. But let's look at the folkways and the norms and the mosques. The folkways, they are talking about the customary way of behavior to meet the daily problem of people. And this is talking about the custom that has connection and usages. And these are customs, these are ways that are passed from one generation to the other. And it's the customary way of behavior. When you greet people, you kneel down to greet people. You see elderly people, you respect them. And these are ways. But in a situation where non-conformity is punished, that is when we are talking about the mosques. When non-conformity with the customary way of people, with the customary way of behavior, with the customary action, when there is non-conformity and punishment is attached to it, that is mosques. For example, in those days, they believe a lady must maintain the sanctity of her life, virginity. And that time, they believe that if a lady marries and the husband found out that she wasn't the virgin by the time they got married, then rather than when it's being reported to the parent of the bride, there will not be any present. They will take to them half keg of palm wine, indicating that we met your wife, your daughter halfway. She's not fresh. But if she's fresh, she's a virgin, then they will give a good present. That is to maintain, that is the custom of people that yes, you must marry a woman, must be morally upright, must maintain her sanctity. But if not, the consequence is when you get married, you get half keg of palm wine, indicating you are not pure. Or in the society, it is customary you must not steal. But if you are found stealing, then they may decide that all the children stripping naked, or all the children take things and all those ones and sing and ask you to be paraded around the village. There are punishment attached to it, that is mobs. But the normal one that has no punishment attached to it, the customary behavior, that is folkways. And then, this helps and guides every society and leads to social control. It tells people to be upright. It tells people to bring discipline and behavior. And even upbringing, those are things, but I don't know whether those ones still speaks today. And that's why we have our society today. It is part of the things customary in the folkway, especially in Yoruba land. You have to respect the elders. You don't argue with the elders. and you have to give respect in all ways. That is the way it is. And if you don't do that, in some instances there will be punishment. That's the laws. But I don't know what we have to do. So that is talking about the mores and the folklore. Then when we talk about socialization also is talking about the process by which the social issues and the cultural heritage is transmitted from one individual in the process of growing up. As you are growing up, you are absorbing the traditional process. You are absorbing the ways of life. You are absorbing the belief. You are absorbing the customary concept. When you grow to a certain age, it is expected of you when you dwell in a society to be of this behavior, to do this and to do that. And that is socialization. Bringing up people, making them to realize the social and the cultural heritage as they grow, as they develop along the line. That is socialization. But also, we could have, when we look at socialization process, there also could be assimilation. Assimilation is talking about where people absorb the culture of another set of people. Like most of the French countries, some of them, even now you see them wearing French suit and all these ones, even though wearing their own traditional dress, and they make it part of their own, it has become part and parcel of their culture. Their tradition. They have assimilated, they have taken up the culture of other people to the detriment of their own culture. That is assimilation. Then we have social diffusion. Social diffusion is talking about the spread of the cultural elements from one community or society to the other. The spread of the cultural element from one community or among the particular set of people to another one. And this could be achieved through migration, it could be achieved through borrowing, it could be achieved through suggestions and other ways. And finally, we have the social psychology. Social psychology is talking about, it involves the response of individual to various types of stimuli that may be in the society, or behavior, or motivation, or adjustment of individual with personality and growth and culture and structures. And it's also related to the state of mind of people being influenced within the social system. That is what we are talking about, the social psychology. The state of mind of people, the attitude of people, the perception of people, the lifestyle of people that relates within the confine of where they are and bring a kind of form of stimuli to the society. So when we look at this at your level, that is what you actually need to understand the elements. Some of you will be going further, and next time we'll be talking about social groups, social dynamics, and moving for social systems in advanced way. And even at your level, that is what you need now. So what we have said is that we have looked at this issue of introduction to extension down to even the issue of teaching learning methodology and teaching learning issues in extension down to real sociology. And I believe that all of you will read and will make a success of this. Like I said, you are still going to have one more test and one assignment. But we create a forum for discussion where you have issues you can discuss. Like we are aware the Zoom of the university cannot take more than 300 people, and you are a class of over 800. That's why we have to use the virtual learning and its purpose. But if there are issues, I can meet you in groups if you are not more than 40, 30, 40 to discuss if you have issues to clear. Thank you. I wish you success in your examination. Thank you very much. God bless you.